It was evening time when, over the skies of Delhi, the aircraft carrying a total of 349 people were flying directly toward each other. One of these planes was preparing to land at Delhi airport, while the other had just taken off from Delhi. The pilots of both aircraft were receiving instructions from the same air traffic controller, and a vertical separation of 1,000 feet had been maintained between them. But for reasons unknown at the time, the two aircraft meant to cross each other safely with a 1,000-foot gap ended up colliding midair. Where did the mistake happen, and who was responsible? When both pilots were in contact with air traffic control and proper separation existed, how did they collide in such vast airspace? This is the tragic story of an accident the world now knows as the worst mid-air collision in aviation history. Once again, welcome to Factify TV. Viewers, did you know that at any given minute, between 15,000 and 25,000 aircraft are flying in the sky? According to flight radar data, more than 100,000 flights land worldwide every single day. This raises an important question. If so many planes are constantly in the air, why don't they collide with each other? The answer lies with air traffic controllers and airways in the sky. Just as highways exist on the ground, there are imaginary airways in the sky. Air traffic controllers manage aircraft on these airways, each governed by specific rules. For example, Airway UM68 connects Europe with Asia. On this route, eastbound flights traveling from Europe to Dubai, India, and China are assigned odd-numbered altitudes, such as 35,000, 37,000, and 39,000 feet. Meanwhile, westbound flights returning to Europe fly at even-numbered altitudes, such as 34,000, 36,000, and 38,000 feet. These altitude instructions are issued by air traffic control in the relevant region. This system allows thousands of aircraft to safely cross each other every day, with vertical separations of 1,000 or 2,000 feet. Under normal circumstances, this works perfectly, but on the evening of November 12, 1996, something went terribly wrong over Delhi. One of the aircraft was Kazakhstan Airlines Flight 1907, an Aviation 76 that took off from Shymkent International Airport in Kazakhstan at 3:55 p.m. India time. After a flight of approximately 3.5 hours, it was scheduled to land at Delhi International Airport. This was a chartered flight carrying 27 passengers and 10 crew members, mostly merchants traveling to India for trade. At the same time, a Saudi Arabian Airlines Boeing 747 had landed in Delhi and was scheduled to depart again at 6 p.m. for Jeddah after boarding passengers. Most of the passengers were Indian laborers working in Saudi Arabia. The Saudi aircraft carried 312 people, in total 289 passengers and 23 crew members. Under normal circumstances, these two flights would never have crossed paths. Their origins were different. Their destinations were different, but the 349 people aboard had no idea that within a few hours, they would meet in the most horrific way imaginable. At around 6:23 p.m., Kazakhstan Airlines Flight 1907 reached the Lumka waypoint. Waypoints function much like intersections or roundabouts on roads, imaginary points, where different airways cross and aircraft may change direction. The major airways intersected here. One international airway carried Flight 1907 from Kazakhstan to India. The other, known as G452, spoken as Gulf 452, connected India and China with Gulf countries. The Saudi Boeing 747 was scheduled to travel along this route from Delhi to Jeddah. The Lumka waypoint lies over Haryana, approximately 328 kilometers west of Delhi Airport. Any aircraft heading toward Delhi must transition from Lumka onto a smaller route, known as the Delhi Star. At 6:23 p.m., when Flight 1907 reached Lumka, the crew contacted Delhi ATC and requested permission to join the Delhi Star route. At that time, the aircraft was at 25,000 feet. ATC cleared them to descend to flight level to 100 or 20,000 feet. At 6:30 p.m., Saudi Airlines Flight SV763 took off from Delhi with ATC clearance. The captain was 44-year-old Khalid Al-Shubaili, first officer Najir Khan, and flight engineer Ahmed Idris. The crew was well rested, having completed 70 hours of rest prior to the flight. After takeoff, ATC cleared the Saudi aircraft to climb to 10,000 feet. At this point, both aircraft were flying toward each other on the same Delhi Star route, controlled by the same air traffic controller identified as VKDUTTA. At 6:30 p.m., Dutta instructed the Kazakh aircraft to descend to 15,000 feet. 2 minutes later, at 6:36 p.m., He cleared the Saudi aircraft to climb from 10,000 feet to 14,000 feet. At 6:38 p.m., the Saudi crew reported they had reached 14,000 feet and requested further climb. ATC instructed them to maintain 14,000 feet, as the Kazakh aircraft was expected to cross above them with a 1,000-foot separation. The Saudi crew acknowledged Saudi SV-763 will maintain 140. At 6:39 p.m., the Kazakh aircraft reported that it had descended to 15,000 feet. However, investigations later revealed that the aircraft was actually at 16,348 feet and continuing to descend. Moments later, a U.S. Air Force cargo aircraft nearby reported seeing a massive explosion in the sky. ATC immediately attempted to contact both aircraft, but there was no response. The two planes had collided. The left wing of the Kazakh aircraft struck the left wing of the Saudi Boeing 747. Both wings were torn apart. The Boeing entered a violent spin, broke apart midair, and crashed at supersonic speed into Dani village in Haryana. The Kazakh aircraft, missing half its wing and vertical stabilizer, entered a flat spin and crashed near Birohar village. All 349 people aboard both aircraft were killed. The tragedies shocked the entire world. Media outlets everywhere asked the same question: how could this happen? When a 1,000-foot separation was maintained, investigators concluded that the Kazakh crew misunderstood ATC instructions. The aircraft descended below its assigned altitude, likely due to language barriers and delayed translation by the radio operator. Additionally, ATC procedures were flawed. Aircraft flying in opposite directions on the same path should have been separated by 2,000 feet, not 1,000. At the time, Delhi ATC radar could track aircraft distance, but not altitude. This disaster led to major reforms in aviation safety, including mandatory installation of TCAS traffic collision avoidance system on commercial aircraft, stricter English language requirements for pilots, and upgraded radar systems worldwide. We hope you liked and shared this Factify TV video. Thank you for your continued love and support. See you in our next amazing video.